When I first started learning Japanese, I wasted like 2 months on stuff that didn't even matter. I was using the wrong apps, the wrong methods, the wrong everything. And honestly, I almost gave up because nothing was making sense. So, I made this video to save you from doing the same thing. I'm covering exactly where to start, what to use, and what to ignore. Everything you actually need as a beginner. So, without further ado, let's get started. The first thing first you have to learn is obviously Japanese alphabet. The Japanese has 3 writing systems, which sounds terrifying, right? But you only really need to worry about 2 of them, which is hiragana and katakana. Together, it's like 92 characters, which, yeah, that's a lot, but if you actually sit down and practice every day, you can get through all of them in like 2 or 3 weeks, which honestly isn't that bad. The app I've been using for this called Write Japanese. It teaches you the stroke order, which sounds boring, but it actually makes a huge difference because when you write the stuff correctly, your brain just remembers it better. There's also quizzes so you can learn a character, test yourself, move on. It's like pretty simple, piece of cake. For pronunciation, just look up Introduction Japanese Pronunciation. So there are a lot of videos on YouTube. And watch a couple of videos, get the sounds right from the beginning because bad pronunciation becomes a habit that's really annoying to fix later. Trust me on that one. Next thing you should know about is the GLPT, which is basically the test that measures your Japanese level. There's 5 levels, and 5 being the easiest and N1 being the native speaker level, which is way out of my league for now. But we're starting with N5, which is one that you actually should head for. For N5, you need around 800 vocabulary words. Sounds like a lot, but if you learn 10 words a day, you can get there in under 3 months, which is actually pretty double. I usually spend like an hour a day or 2 a day, 10 new words, 5 new kanji, and then I review whatever I learned yesterday so I don't forget everything. GPT Sensei is this free website that breaks down everything you need for each level: vocabulary, grammar, kanji, and reading. But I use GPT Sensei only to learn grammar because each grammar topic is organized for beginners, for N4 levels, for intermediate levels, etc. So use this website for this tool. So now vocabulary is where most people just give up because it gets boring and repetitive. But you really can't get around it because you need words to actually speak the language. That's how it works. Anki is my go-to for this. It's a flashcard app that uses spaced repetition method, which is actually basically science proven, where it shows you the words right before you're about to forget them. And it sounds simple, but it actually works really well. So you can just download a pre-made N5 deck and study every day. Even 10 minutes makes pretty huge difference, so you don't have to go crazy with this. And if you don't know how to use Anki, you can just watch some tutorials on YouTube. I won't just dive deeper in this in my video. So, heading for grammar. Grammar is where things get a little messy because Japanese just works differently from English. The order is different, conjunctions, and there's things called particles that doesn't really exist in English. And the politeness levels are kind of complicated, but it's not impossible to figure out once you have the right resources. Miku Real Japanese. is one of my favorite YouTube channels for grammar because she explains things in a way that actually clicks. And she uses real-life examples which makes it easier to understand than just reading a textbook. She also does videos about Japanese culture, which helps with understanding the context behind certain phrases and why people say things the way they do. Shino Neko Japanese is another channel that's really good for beginners because her videos are actually fun to watch and she covers grammar, vocabulary, and even slang, which is very helpful if you want to sound like more like a person and less like a robot. In her channel, you can also find Genki course, which is the textbook for beginner Japanese learners. She covers up every single topic from that Genki book and made it very simple and clear to understand in which of her videos and her playlist. So you can watch each videos from her playlist, like 1 or 2 videos per day, and in 1 month, I guarantee the results. And also a very good app called Bun Pro that use spaced repetition specifically for grammar, which is pretty cool because you'll learn grammar point, do some quizzes, and reviews everything at the same time so you don't forget.
父が息子に、おはよう。おはよう。よく眠れた？
Listening is one of those things that people just ignore for some reason, but you really have to train your ears if you want to actually understand what people are saying. Because in real life, people don't speak like they do in textbooks, and everything just sounds different. Hensan Okaeri Japanese is a podcast that's really good for beginners because the host speaks so clearly and at reasonable pace. And it's great for shadowing, which is when you repeat after the speaker like parrot, which sounds silly, but it actually helps a lot with pronunciation and rhythm. And the next one, Jiro Just Japanese, is another solid podcast. Nihongo kon teppei is also one of the most popular ones, and the host speaks only in Japanese, which is a little intimidating at first, but he uses simple language, which makes it manageable for intermediate learners, and he also has for beginner learners podcast, which you can listen whenever you are. Japanese with Shun is also good. Music is honestly one of my best ways to learn a language, and nobody really talks about it that much, which is kind of surprising because it's fun and you pick up really natural expressions without even realizing it. Plus, it trains your pronunciation and rhythm, which is something you don't really get from textbooks. Lyrical Training is the app that teaches you Japanese through song lyrics, which is pretty genius if you ask me. You listen to a song and fill in the missing words in the lyrics, which trains your listening, reading, and vocabulary at the same time. They have pretty good selection of popular Japanese songs too, so you can actually learn from music you enjoy rather than just pouring practice material. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is immersion. It's basically just surrounding yourself with Japanese outside of your actual study time, and it's honestly the most underrated thing you can do for your learning. Change your foreign language to Japanese, which is painful at first, but you get used to it pretty quickly. Watch Japanese YouTubers, listen to Japanese music, read Japanese tweets. Just make Japanese a part of your daily life instead of something you only think about when you're studying. Anime is great for immersion because it's entertaining and you get exposed to a lot of natural dialogue. Although you do have to keep in mind that anime speech can be a little dramatic and exaggerated, and not everything translates to real Japanese situations. But if you watch with Japanese subtitles and repeat lines out loud, it's honestly like having a free tutor. Japanese YouTubers are even better than anime though, because you get real natural speech at normal speed with no scripts or exaggerated acting. You can watch vlogs, game videos, cooking videos, whatever you're into. It's actually interesting to watch, which makes it way easier to stay consistent. So, what my daily routine looks like. My daily routine looks something like this. In the morning, I do 1 hour of Anki. In the afternoon, I do 3 hours of learning Japanese sessions. In the evening, I do 20 minutes of listening. That actually just works for me. Also, I set specific goals for myself, like in 5 and 3 months, or 10 new words a day, something that's actually measurable so I can track my progress. I write it down and tell people about it because that keeps me accountable, and I try not to compare myself to others because everyone learns at their own pace. If you're starting your Japanese journey, you've been at it for a while and feel kind of stuck, I'm there with you, so we might as well do it together. So hit subscribe if you want to keep up with my progress, and I'll keep sharing whatever works for me. Also, don't drop a comment with what you're struggling with the most in Japanese right now, because I actually read them, and I'll try to make videos about whatever people are actually struggling with. So, by the way, my name is Shiri, but you can call me Mulan. Muran. 私は Muran です。ありがとうございます for sticking around, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!
Please subscribe.